Hi guys, once again, good to see you back. Now, in the last lesson we looked at the language we needed to describe trends or changes in situations over time. So we looked at nouns, verbs, adjectives and adverbs, okay, and put some of those into some simple sentences. Today we're going to look at the actual variables which change, okay, and how to describe some of those variables, okay, and put those into our sentences using the language from the last lesson, okay. So let's look at first of all the stage of this lesson. First of all, we're going to talk about what typical variables you can see when you look at an IELTS question, okay. Then we're going to look at what variables are expressed and how to write those into sentences, okay. So when you open your test papers and you see the graph in front of you, you're going to pick out what the variable is and then know how to create the sentence or to create the part of the sentence to describe that variable, okay. So we're going to look at how to write these variables. Then we're going to add to our sentences to give more information, more useful information, more complete sentences. We're going to look at some phrases to express time, so individual points in time or periods of time, okay? And finally, just to show how this is all working with the language from the last lesson and today's lesson, we're going to show you a graph and some sentences to describe that graph, different parts of that graph, okay? Good. Let's move on. So, first of all, what typical variables are found in IELTS? Okay. So, now when you look at the question in IELTS, the lines in the graphs or the bars in the graphs or the slices of the pies are going to be trying to give you information about, first of all, people, or it could be other abstract concepts. So what do I mean by this? Okay. Well, for example, people, you might be asked to describe population, okay? So what about the population? So the number of people who live in a certain place, okay? It could be in a country, in a particular city, could be in the countryside, or it could be moving from the city to the countryside, or blah, blah, blah. You might also be asked to describe people's activity, so things they do. So it could be hobbies, okay, for example. Ownership, okay, well if you look at the beginning of this word, it's got the word own, so this is talking about people's property, okay, so it could be their own homes, or it could be mobile phones, or iPods, MP3 players, anything that they own. Could be their opinions, so how do they feel about certain things, how do they feel about politics, or the provision of transport in their areas, or how clean their areas are, okay. Or it could be about people's reasons for doing something. Why do they do something, okay? Why did they choose one thing instead of another? Okay, so we could be measuring their reasons or their choices of something, okay? From abstract concepts, so not related to people now, we could have, for example, sales of a product, okay? So a company selling products, so it's in the interest of the company to measure how many of this product, how many units of this product are sold in 1 year. From a person point of view, from my point of view, because I'm buying a product from a company, you might need to look at consumption figures, okay? So consumption could be the amount of anything which is bought by people, which are called consumers, okay, or it could be more directly related to the meaning of consumption, which is to eat, okay. So it could be measuring the amount of a particular food that people eat in 1 month or in 1 year. Another example might be expressing time, okay. So you might be describing a graph about how long it takes to do something, for example, how long it takes to travel into the city, or it could be how long people work on an average day or week. Another example could be weather trends, okay, so talking about, I don't know, how hot it is over the year in one country, or how much rain falls, things like that. Could be transport or travel. Okay, measurements on how many people use public transport.